Northside Manor. I'm Gabriella.
And I'm Michael.
And how exciting was this week
Yeah,
for
it
the
was
Cubs?
very exciting, before we get into the whole show. This week was a nail biter, a legitimate nail biter, and I was just blown away by how this team rallied together behind a certain person and how everyone is just, so excited and just ready for the next chapter in this postseason, which would be Game 6.
Yes, so let's get right into it with the NLCS recap so far. The NLCS recap is brought to you by EuroView. Game 1, the Cubs won 8-4. Miguel Montero with a grand slam, and Dexter Fowler homered right after that grand slam. Everyone was up in their seats and almost missed Dexter Fowler's home run because they were still celebrating Miguel Montero's grand slam.
And Miguel Montero hasn't really played a whole lot in this postseason, but his bat has come up big a lot.
Yeah.
And
he's very clutch.
Very. And he was quoted earlier in the season saying that he didn't think he was going to be on this team much longer. He thought he was going to be, let go or traded.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they had Miguel Montero Game 1.
Yeah.
And now for Game 2, the Cubs did lose 1-0.
And Game 3, they lost 6-0.
But Game 4, they won big time. It was 10-2. Addison Russell and Anthony Rizzo both homered, and the Dodgers have officially woken up a sleeping giant, which was Addison Russell, Anthony Rizzo, and the entire Cubs offense.
Yeah, and we saw that in Game 5 as well. They won 8-4. Anthony Rizzo and Javier Baez doubled, and Addison Russell homered yet again.
And I think the real MVP, which I'm pretty sure all of you guys know, is Matt Caesar for lending Anthony Rizzo his bat and also lending Addison Russell his long johns.
Yeah, and Anthony Rizzo did joke on Fox saying that they're all going to have to sleep with Matt Caesar now.
Yeah, a team sleepover. And Game 6 will be Saturday night here at Wrigley Field, and it's going to be Clayton Kershaw versus the Professor, Kyle Hendricks.
It's going to be exciting. If the Cubs win Game 6, they will
move on to
the World Series. That's so crazy to think about, and it's going to be an exciting game, and I can't wait to see how electrifying Wrigley gets.
Yes, and if the outcome doesn't go in the Cubs' favor, Game 7 will be Sunday night.
Northside Inside is brought to you by Bygone Brand, and we are going to talk about Addison Russell and Anthony Rizzo. They were in a little slump we saw early in the NLCS, but now it's all up from there.
It really is, and I think it's their maturity level. Addison Russell being 22 years old, Anthony Rizzo being 26. I think they are very mature for how young they are, and they realized that they needed to step up in order to help their team win, and they did. All they needed to do was just get some hits.
Yeah.
Well, it turned out hits were home runs, and that kind of just fueled the fire beneath this whole entire team and city, and it's just been electrifying ever since they started hitting again.
Yeah, everyone was worried, what happened to this Cubs offense? They need it to win these crucial games, and they're woken up now, their bats are hot, and we hope it continues into Game 6.
Exactly. And Joe Madden, one player we haven't mentioned a whole lot this postseason, go back to that Joe Madden that I just brought up, is Wilson Contreras.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Madden was quoted after the game yesterday during the press conference, and he said Wilson Contreras is a very temperamental player, and he has a temper with everything he does, and you can't unteach that. You can't teach that for how excited the kid gets. And Joe even said that he gets excited getting his morning cup of coffee. Everything he does is with a temper and excitement. And Wilson Contreras has been maybe the fire starter, if you so to say. He's come up with clutch hits. He's been getting on base, making good plays behind the plate, and he's kind of, been shoot away a little bit with Javier Baez, Ben Zobrist, and of course Anthony Rizzo Chris Bryant and Addison Russell and even Matt Caesar. But the big key player out of this entire postseason right now for me is Wilson Contreras.
Okay, I like that pick. I'm going to have to say Javier Baez just because you see what he's been doing. Every time he comes up to bat, you know, you're like, oh my God, is this going to be a home run? Is this going to be a triple? You know, but he's definitely more patient than, 2 years ago. It's just amazing how mature he's gotten at the plate in just 2 years.
Exactly, and I think a lot of that has to do with the death of his sister, and he's playing with an guardian angel on his shoulder. So I think whatever he does it with, his sister in mind.
Yeah, and to bring up Javier Baez, you guys should go to northsidemanor.com and read Michael's article. It's called Who is Javier Baez? He has some, facts you might not know about Javier Baez.
Anyways, we're going to move on to the ALCS. The Indians did win, but we're going to recap games 1 through 5. Game 1, Cleveland won 2-0.
Game 2, Cleveland won 2-1.
Game 3 was a big game for Cleveland. They won 4-2.
And they tried to go for the sweep in Game 4, but the Blue Jays won 5-1.
Game 5, Cleveland shut out the Blue Jays and advanced to the World Series with a 3-0 shutout. And it's the Cleveland's first World Series appearance for the first time since 1997.
This week's Player of the Week honors are going to Addison Russell and Anthony Rizzo. They both deserve it. I can even add Javier Baez in there, but I wanted to give it to Addison Russell and Anthony Rizzo just because all the hate that they were getting, all the backlash because their bats were quiet, they were striking out, grounding out, making outs. But now they are back.
They are.
Hot as ever.
Yes.
Line caught by Zobrist. Double play.
There's your double play ball.
In the air. And Hamilton! Are you kidding me?
Kicks the Puig. Barney on his way to second. Puig's throw is on the money, and he got him again.
Now it's time for Play of the Week, and it's going to go to Javi Baez, his barehanded play in Game 5 to get out Adrian Gonzalez. And Adrian, it's you against the world.
Hard to second. Baez safe. Awfully close. Umpire listening for that sound. Looks like he's out. Out.
Bonds to
Today.
the Diamondbacks. Coggin runs on the 3-2 and a fly ball hit to deep left. Bradley looks up. That ball is gone. A home run.
We've been talking about him all episode long, and Addison Russell's his 2 home runs on back-to-back nights is my home run of the week.
That is hit deep to center. Back at the wall. It is gone. 4-0 Chicago. Russell breaks out. High fly ball in the center. The shortstop Russell. A big one.
And in case you guys missed it, last night we posted on our social media to tag at Northside Manor in your postseason celebration post. That can be a picture, a video, a tweet, a Facebook post, anything along those lines, an Instagram photo,
Yes.
anything that you guys got for celebrating the Cubs' victories.
Yes, and we'll go ahead, we'll create a little montage, and we'll put it up after one of the World Series episodes.
And before we leave you, we just want to make sure you are going to northsidemanor.com pretty much every day. We got something posted on there, so make sure you are keeping up with all the latest Cubs news on there as well.
Yes, and that's going to do it here from a nail-biting episode of Northside Manor. Hopefully the Cubs can finish out this NLCS strong and head to the World Series.
Yeah, so next week we'll be back to, talk about the World Series because it already have been started when we film next week, but we hope to bring you some good news.
Yes, I'm Michael.
I'm Gabriella.
And make sure to keep on flying that W.